You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Welcome to Cinema Z, a film discussion and review podcast on BQN. We're here to showcase the films you probably missed, but should definitely check out. From independent and obscure to art house and absurd, each episode will gather, perhaps cocktail in hand, to discuss it all. I'm your host, Mark, and with me today are, of course, the lovely Matt Jennings returns, and special guest, EJ. So welcome, guys.
Thank you. You know, Matt Jennings Returns sounds like a superhero movie, and I'm totally taking it and using it.
That'll be the next episode of your Blurred story.
Yeah, it's going to be like dark and gritty. Going to have those Christopher Nolan womps. Womp. Dun, 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 womp.
As you appear from like the mist at night with like nothing but a street light pointed at you, and
oh yeah,
a long black Morpheus-like coat.
Oh my God, it's going to be epic. There's no reason for the mist at all. It wasn't even raining outside. No. It's not cold out. The mist is just there because
it's just there.
It has to be.
Yeah. Well, guys, what are you drinking, if anything?
Oh, it's a dry day today because I have to get in my vehicle and go a place. So it's a dry day today. But
do you have water?
No, I don't even have that.
Oh my goodness!
It's literally a dry day today.
Okay, Chiron would say, "Go grab your glass of water, there, buddy."
He would, because he loves water.
He does love water. What about you, EJ? What do you got?
I'm not really drinking any alcohol, but I am drinking a Pure Leaf, peach flavored, which are hard to come by.
The peach is hard to come by?
Yeah, I only see them at like select stores. Like they're not everywhere. They used to be like pre-pandemic, but now definitely not. I don't see them all the time.
The raspberry is really good too, but I think that's the one's more common.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I think I see lemon and green tea and unsweetened a lot more out there. Instead,
I have to buy them in bulk because I like them, and they disappear.
Well, I went to Miami for my cocktail today, and I have a rum punch, and I got Haitian rum in there. And then, do you guys see the little? No.
I see the color of the liquid. It looks beautiful.
No.
Oh, what's happening? What's going on? I don't see it.
In my drink, black boys look green.
Oh yes.
No, because I got a little.
Honestly, I kind of we'll talk about that in a minute. There was some commentary that I want to make about that, but we'll talk.
I got a little black swimmer dude in my drink. It's made for like when you have parties and you want to figure out which drink's yours, so everybody picks a little swimmer dude. Yeah, my swimmer dude's like this little black dude in a Speedo. Anyway,
is that ice cube circular? Is that a round ice cube?
Yes, they're balls.
The first time that I saw a round ice cube, or that I knew ice cubes could be circular, was in a Star Trek movie. I had no idea.
Which one?
The reboot movie with Chris Pine.
They had round ice?
Yeah.
Spherical ice?
Spherical ice, yes.
Ooh. Well, moving on to the topic of the day. Today we'll be discussing Moonlight. It's a 2016 coming-of-age drama film written and directed by Barry Jenkins, based on Tarell Alvin McCraney's unpublished semi-autobiographical play, In the Moonlight, Black Boys Look Blue. So I wanted everybody to watch this because I remember when it came out, I was really wanting to see it, and I saw it in the theater, and then when it was released on video, I saw it again and bought it, and I remember I loved this film, but I hadn't seen it in probably a couple of years at least, and rewatching it, it brought up a lot of feelings to me. Although the characters and the themes seem so far removed from maybe the life that you would think that I had or other people have had, the characters are written in such a way that they are so human. They're grounded in this reality, and they're so relatable. There's aspects of them that actually are in all of us if we think about it. And so I had a really deep deep connection to this film for some reason, and I kept texting you guys because I cried and cried and cried, and I cried again before we came on to record. All the tears. So that is why I wanted you guys to watch. But I want to know, what did you want to watch?
I definitely wanted to watch it again because, for me, it's always because of the representation. And, we don't see a lot of queer stories still from a perspective of people of color. We've had, Noah's Ark, which was out there back in 2005. And
again, with a small budget.
And with a small budget compared to Queer as Folk that had, that HBO money. I can't think of any other, I guess, mainstream-ish Oscar, winning movies with featuring queer people of color besides Moonlight. So for me, it was the representation, it was the storytelling. Mahershala Ali, there's so much love from that character. That character is just the embodiment of love. And in terms of, first reactions to watching this movie, all I can think of is just the love that I continued to see show up in so many different ways. And it is a way for showing people of color, Black people specifically, it is another way of humanizing us in an industry, in a country, in a world that continues to find ways to dehumanize us. This movie breaks down those lies and tells the truth, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'd say for me, the primary reason is because Mark, my friend, suggested it. But
Good answer.
did definitely enjoy watching it, and glad that I did. And I do agree with what both of y'all were saying in terms of the storytelling and the representation and just the honesty. I like the progression, starting out when he was very young, because I think that a lot of times that sort of element gets skipped over or overlooked or is misunderstood completely. So I think it was very powerful. So I definitely enjoyed it.
I don't know if I realized this was your first watch of the film, but that's really cool. Anyway, I'm glad I could share it with you. Yay! EJ, you sort of touched on something about the way that it was filmed, the way the play, the original play was written, had each iteration of Chiron sort of acting out similar sequences at the same time. So you would have these flashbacks of the young boy having breakfast, and then the middle kid having breakfast, and then Black having breakfast, and that kind of thing. And when Barry got a hold of the project, the main thing he did was sort of split that up into, okay, we still have these things happening, but instead of showing them at the same time via a cut up kind of way in flashbacks, we're just going to show this segment, the next segment, in the following segment. And what I think it does, it allows you to sort of more fully appreciate the journey that you were talking about, EJ, of building up the character. Where does this character come from? Because a lot of times we're dropped in sort of middle or towards the end of the characters becoming who they are. But here we can see the first sort of steps of Little becoming Chiron, becoming Black. Yeah. Anyway, good point. My first question here, actually, that I wanted to ask you guys, and I want to begin by talking about Little. What did you guys think about his story? What connected you to him? Yeah.
I think for me with Little, the thing that connected me to him was probably him being so quiet as a kid. I was a quiet child. I had one friend when I was in elementary school. I mean, until I got to the 6th grade, I really only had one good friend. I didn't really have any other friends. So I think that's something that I connected with. I know that this is something that shows up with Little and with Chiron and with Black, but in each period of his life, he continues to have, oh my God, I'm forgetting the name of his friend / lover.
Oh, Kevin.
Kevin kind of continues to challenge him throughout the years, because it is Kevin that is his friend in the very beginning as well, right?
Yeah.
So, Kevin pushes him a little bit and says, you gotta fight back. You gotta stand up for yourself. I identified with having that friend that pushed you to be better than who you are, pushed you to break out.
I'd say for me, it was like kind of like the flip side of that. It was like what related me was like the bullying, because I also got bullied when I was like around that age, and it was something where like I kind of had to learn to fight back and learn exactly like how to deal with those type of people. So it was interesting, frustrating, maybe even infuriating to see like that play out, and just to see
Mm.
him like go through that sort of like trauma.
That's kind of how I felt too. But I related, like, really have, I didn't have like that friend character sort of pushing me. And I also didn't really fight back. Like, I was just, beat up and pushed down, and I just kind of took it when I was that age. And so I saw a lot of myself in Little. And there's something that I think like I said, I've watched a lot of commentary. The director talked about between the characters of Juan and Little. And one of those things was that you notice that Juan is, he's Spanish, but he's black. Now, if you guys are in Miami, or if you guys are in Cuba, and you're black, the black Cubans get treated very differently than the light skinned Cubans, right? Even amongst their own community, right? So when Juan was growing up, he was the other. He was on the outside, and he was ostracized because of, his darker pigment. And so when he sees Little, and he sees how these kids are treating Little, he recognizes that otherness in him. And even though his otherness, their otherness is different, it's also the same. It's what binds the two characters together, and that's why he's so compelled to help him. And I found that really beautiful. And I almost, envious, that I didn't have somebody in that like that in my life at that time, because that would have been very helpful. It was a dark time.
Yeah, that's a really, really good call out. I think that that intersectionality there between like colorism and like homophobia is very, it's like you can relate, and that's the thing, like people, the most powerful way to like understand a system of oppression that you don't directly like feel the impact of is by seeing what system of oppression you do get impacted by, and find those commonalities and find that intersection point. It's really powerful as a tool to relate struggles, for sure.
Moving on to Chiron. This I do not know for sure, but I feel like he had some of the most screen time. I think it was like Little and Chiron, I feel like had the most time on screen, but Chiron in particular. So we meet him at this stage in his life, and he is what, maybe 15, 16 years old.
Maybe 16, because Kevin's driving at that point, isn't he?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So we meet Chiron, and it looks like he's still going through the same crap. And it looks like, Kevin's still in his life, but not really. Like, it's more adjacent. Like, they kind of see each other here and there at school, but they don't really hang out. And there's no Juan. And this was an interesting choice for the director to not really explain what happens to Juan. But from my understanding, the director as well as the screenwriter, they both grew up in that neighborhood in Miami. And they said it was pretty normal for people to just not be there anymore. And nobody asked because everybody knew. And so they wanted to do that with Juan here, so that the audience was forced to sort of deal with it in the loss of the character in the same way that Chiron would have dealt with it.
Mm.
And
Mm.
throughout his childhood, Little would always go over there and be comforted by Juan, and Juan's girlfriend. Geez, her name's escaping me at the moment, but his girlfriend. And at this stage in his life, yes, he still goes there occasionally, but you see he's already starting to, I guess, take the lessons that he learned from Juan to be a stronger man. He's not just running to her when Teresa. he's not just running to Teresa whenever things are bad, right? You see him making do, man. He's got his backpack and he heads out into Miami, and he's just riding the rails. That elevated rail system runs all along downtown Miami. It's free, so you can often, like, if you want to escape the heat in the summer in Miami, you can go and hang out there. So you'll oftentimes see people just sort of being on the trains, and I like that they incorporated that. I have ridden those trains. I lived in Miami for a while.
Oh wow! See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I've ridden that exact train, and then not only that, but you can take the tri-rail, and it goes up 3 counties in Florida, and it's very inexpensive. So you can ride those as well, but it's a way to escape the heat. It's a way to sleep, you know. And so I love that they sort of brought that into the film of, like, here's Chiron. He's got no place to go. He's not going to run to Teresa's, and he's just going to man up and just figure things out for himself, you know, and not rely on anybody else but himself. And through the journey of this character, it starts, you know, I think Juan's planted the seeds, and now you're watching Black start to grow. It's still Chiron, but the evolution of the character, this is to me like a Marvel film. Like, he becomes a superhero at the end, you know, he really does. And he does that himself. But I think I see the beginning of that here.
I have to say it, and I know it's probably not the good thing, but I got a little joy out of it. Is when Chiron goes back to his bully, and he grabs the chair in the classroom and he breaks it on the guy's back, and he just goes out cold. Oh,
every time I see it, I get
delicious.
so excited.
Speak on it.
I was like, good, Anakin, good.
Yeah, definitely a Sidious moment. Yeah, I couldn't have seconded that more. I think that was definitely the highlight for me, like the end, like, you know, confronting that. I think it's extremely powerful, because when you do something like that, even though there's consequences, like, you avoid so much trauma, like, internally, from not being able to do that. Like, when you can't confront that will stick with you until you confront it later down the line in life, and you will continuously fail to confront things you are supposed to confront. And that's one of the harms with these types of activities, like, that people don't really realize, that, like, it really, like, mess up the way that you perceive the world when these types of things happen to you, and you can't react properly in a certain type of way, because then you learn not to react in that way even when you're supposed to. Like, for the amount of bullying, especially because it got very physical right before that, like, it's definitely something that warranted some sort of retaliation, some sort of physical retaliation. Now, would I have done it in the classroom? I think that's a little bit crazy, but it's very, very cool that he disregarded everything. It was like, no, like, that was it. That was the last straw for him.
What did you guys think of the filming of that? Like, you saw him walk towards the school, and you're like, oh.
I knew it was coming.
That was like Rocky, you know what I mean? Like, you could almost hear the theme, you know, no, and you're like, oh my god.
I mean, it's also very interesting that you can see the frame rate change as well. I think that's what it is. You can see the frame rate change in the cinematography in the follow-ups,
yes,
the moment that he gets in the classroom, because you see stuff like that you see in fight scenes. Like, I swear that I've seen that in The Matrix. I'm like, oh, we changed the film quality. Some action is about to happen. Something's about to go down.
Yeah.
In terms of him going off in the classroom, you know, while there is an element, a fantastical element to that for maybe the sake of the story, I do have to say that I think sometimes, you know, like you're saying, EJ, when you have suppressed something for so long and you don't respond to something that requires a certain response, it's going to come out eventually in some kind of way, and people do explode, and people end up surprising themselves with that reaction, because it's, you know, it's a geyser, it's waiting to explode. So even though it was fantastical, I think sometimes it does happen that way, and people just go off But sometimes that's the best. That's the best way to do it. That's just the best way. That's the best execution.
I mean, obviously, like the three of us are not condoning of violence, and we're not saying that that is the answer to things. But when it makes sense in this story, I think, because it's been building up, building up, building up, and he hasn't done anything. It's just compounded and compounded, and there's been no reaction. He's sort of let it happen, which is, like I said, I could relate to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We didn't really talk about this in this part, but this is something I think we should mention because this changed the trajectory of his life. But right before that scene, we had the beach scene with Kevin. And what did you guys think of the scene?
I think that it was interesting because correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was foreshadowed by Kevin having like his own like heterosexual moment scene. Am I right about that?
He had previously, yeah,
Previously.
because he had told him about hooking up with that the girl from his class.
Yes. So it was interesting to see like that transition and I'm sure that some people had very different reactions to the two
Mm-hmm.
scenes. Which that was one thing I was thinking about when that scene was going on. I was just like, oh, this is like, something that definitely happens. Like, I've had similar experiences when I was growing up, but it was interesting to see like how I know people would perceive the differences between those two scenes as one being
Mm.
like, oh, that's kind of, you know what I mean? Like having a very adverse reaction to it when
Yeah,
there's no reason for that to be the case, especially because it was just like just before we saw something that was, at least that was like, it was at a beach. It was like more of like, maybe still in public, but more of like a private thing versus the other scene, which was like in a school hall was a
yeah,
staircase. Like it was
yeah,
definitely more reckless, I would say.
yeah.
I definitely think Kevin, when he was telling that story to Chiron, I thought that he was elevating it quite a bit just because teenagers do that. That's what I mean.
That's
That's
what
what,
they do.
yeah. Human beings do. Like human beings just do that in general, especially, no offense, but I think when some people, men, are figuring out their sexuality, are figuring out what they like, especially if they're in a place of insecurity about figuring out what that is. Um, they hold on to that bit of that bit of heterosexuality, that bit
Mm-hmm.
of acceptance, and they're going to blow it up as much as they can. So
Project. Yeah.
exactly. So when he was telling that story to Chiron, I said, I don't know. I don't think it was like that. And I even questioned whether or not it really happened. You
Listen,
know?
Mm,
but you talking, this is the first time I've thought about this. This discussion is opening stuff up, and I've analyzed the crap out of this film lately. I mean, you guys have no idea how much I've analyzed this film,
Mm.
but his veneers that he was wearing at the end when he's black, he was fronting, which is what we see Kevin doing in the first act and the second act, right?
Exactly.
And so who is he learning from? Who is he's learning from, and who is black? They ask that at the end of the movie. We're not there yet,
Mhm.
but like he's a combination of all of these things.
Yeah.
He's his drug-addled mother Paula. He's Juan. He is Kevin. He's a collage of all of these things, all of these influences made black, right? And so, yeah, we get to that end part, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I can see the mirror now of like he learned those skills of fronting and projecting and building himself and fighting back through Kevin. Really,
Yeah. And when we look at the scene between Kevin and Sharon on the beach, isn't Kevin the instigator of
because
that kiss
yes.
and the instigator of the hand job?
Hmm.
you brought it up. I want to know from a film perspective, was it better that they went with the hand job than a blowy? Because it looked like he was going to get a blowy. And then it was a hand job. And I actually think that the way that they went was best because it seemed more tender and romantic than a blowy.
Honestly, now that you bring it up, it definitely makes me. I'm thinking about like Kevin as a character, because it seems like as someone who's also bi, like the differences between their interactions were just different. I think I touched about that earlier, where the heterosexual interactions were, I wouldn't necessarily classify it as romantic compared to his homosexual activities, which was definitely way more romantic. And I do agree with you that element made it even more so. So I think that there is like definitely a difference there that I'm just like sitting in and is like, oh, that's interesting how he was really. It even seems like more gentle, more caring, considerate. It was a slower pace versus his.
His
He was
fling.
going crazy. Yeah.
Oh, you should have seen the script. I was reading the script, and it says Kevin is banging her almost comically so, over. And at that point, it was over a sink or something. It was supposed to take place in a kitchen, but in the script. But yeah, that's how it was written. It was just like he was just supposed to just go wacko on her.
Yeah. So it's like different sides of his sexuality having different like characteristics, and that does make sense. Like I will say, like if you are, especially as somebody who's bi, like when you're participating or enjoying like a heterosexual moment, typically, at least as a man, you're gonna be more on the top, like dominant side, which is not necessarily the case in like homosexual activities. So it's like you can switch depending on what you're doing and like what the activity is, like, which is a nice touch that they added in there, like his fluidity and his I'm not sure what you would say, like his either being dominant or not. He was still definitely dominant, but it was a much more
But he
like
was
caring
tender.
way. It was tender,
Yeah.
yes, caring.
Is a blowy more tender than a handy? I must say that a blowy is more tender if they swallow. That's when you know it's love.
Oh, that's when you know it's love.
That's when you know it's love. But in all
And that one's
seriousness,
going in the ad.
and that's going to the ad. Also, if you're swallowing, make sure that you're on prep.
This episode has once again been sponsored by Prep.
Thank you, Mark. I do have to say, I think in regards to Kevin and the handy situation, I do think, because I'm thinking of the character, I'm wondering also, was this Kevin's first time doing this? If he was the instigator.
Nah, dog.
No.
There's
No.
no way.
There is no
Ain't
way.
no way.
No.
No, he was
Kevin,
he was in that restroom at the very beginning when it was still little, and he was all like checking the wieners with his
Kevin
his buddies.
is experienced. Kevin has done the work. He's done the work.
He's done his research.
He's done his research. I wonder, and these are just thoughts that I have. Was he going according to, Chiron's comfortability because he knows him? He's like, maybe this is too much. Maybe I should just do this. Maybe I'll just do a quick handy because, I don't want to scare this kid off. Also, I, just paid attention to his reaction at the not at the end, but when he drives him, Chiron back to his mother's, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very much post grinder hookup. Like, hey, all right, I'll see you later.
But I love that though, that it wasn't a deal. Like it didn't.
No,
Kevin didn't want it to
not.
affect their friendship. He wanted to keep being his friend. So it was what it was, and he just was allowing sort of, I guess, Chiron to feel the feels and come to it as he does naturally, not forcing anything. Because, he was definitely walking on eggshells with Chiron.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that makes like the fight scene that happened like right before the chair scene like very more like, it was definitely more raw because it was like intense. Like I think it happened like relatively soon after, and you're just like that's a complete switch of like what.
And at this point,
experiences.
As an audience, you're already aware like this is the love of his life. Really, they're friends as kids, but now, and he's had that dream about him and everything, you realize, okay, he loves this kid. He's in love. And so it's like your first love and it's your hardest love.
Yeah, this
And
is
so
that
the love of your life has to punch you in the face. And the thing is Kevin doesn't want to do it, but Kevin doesn't want to be the new little. He doesn't want to be picked on. So he's got to go along with it. And the thing is he loves him. And so even though he's like he's punching them, even though he has to do it, he's sort of being forced into doing it. He's still in that moment, like, tell him, stay down, Chiron, like, stay down.
Mm-hmm.
He's not all in it to win it. He's still trying to protect his friend, even though he's punching him.
Yeah, he was definitely pulling the beginning ones for sure. You can tell like they got progressively more powerful as he kept standing up, and it was interesting that the choice to stand up was very interesting as well. It's like, I'm not going to give you an easy way out of this.
I'm going to make you do this. I want you to live with what you're doing. Yeah, because he was so hurt. And you wonder like how, so we kind of learn about how that had an effect on Chiron. But Kevin, and you learn at the end too, kept thinking about that moment and had to live with that moment and live with his shame. And that's why in the middle of the night, like a decade later, he had found his number and called him up to apologize because it was haunting him.
Yeah.
Well, I think that brings us to Black. So definitely, I want to talk about the character of Black. He had, I think, the least amount of screen time. But what I love about the way that Barry Jenkins found these actors, and I want to talk about this first, is first of all, he didn't let them interact with each other at all. They didn't get to watch each other's footage, none of that stuff, because he wanted them to be essentially becoming Black. He wanted each iteration to be their own person, right? On the road to becoming Black. And he found actors based on their eyes. He literally just compared the eyes, the shape of the eyes, the way their eyes looked and moved, to find these 3 different actors that he thought had the same or similar eyes, so that through each iteration you would recognize or see the face of Little even in Black. So I thought that was really cool. Yeah, we get to Black, and what did you guys think about that character, that iteration?
I think that Black is a very likely final piece of the puzzle, final part of the journey in regards to the evolution of these 3 people. I think, for one, I mean, like, obviously, Black is built like a brick house, like,
Damn.
He is stacked. And I think on some level, in regards to what this character has gone through in the last 2 periods of their life, it is a likely evolution in terms of this person wanting to defend themselves, wanting to be a physical presence of sorts. The fronts, obviously, are part of that. The fronts are a front. I think the occupation that he has, I wonder if he got that from, I mean, I think he got that from his circumstances. I do wonder if he got a little bit of that from, even though he mentions that he was in jail, and when he gets out of jail, someone puts him on the circuit, for lack of better words, right?
Yeah, that's what happened.
So I think a good chunk of this final piece of the evolution is the front. It is a defense mechanism. It is a sort of protection. I think there's more to it than that, but those are my first thoughts that I think of.
Yeah, I'd say for me, like, I definitely agree. Like, I feel like the progression in which he went in, for me, I think it's an interesting direction. Like, I understand it. Like, the result of him with that chair episode was that, he's definitely got taken to jail, and that changes like your entire trajectory. So it's interesting to see like him be way more muscular, like, projecting strength, something that Kevin mentioned to him way back when he was little, about having to, like, yeah, I know you're strong, but you have to project that strength. And that's something that, I relate to as well, because I definitely had to learn how to like project my strength. And, I did also go through martial arts to be able to understand like how to project strength. And you see, even though he has like his physique, that's not the only thing that he's using to protect himself. I think in one of the scenes he has a firearm as well. Like, so he's fully gotten that protection down suit from the physical level and to handle like all those threats, which is definitely a complete opposite of how he was as little, for sure. But I wouldn't say I'm like the most enthused at his trajectory at the end there. Like just being around the same type of environment that contributed so much negatively to his childhood.
Mm.
But, you know, with that being said, it seems like he was able to survive, and that's the most important thing, and thrive as well.
And something that I think about when I look at what he does for work, I look at the way that he kind of rules his kingdom. Because I look at the same way that Mahershala Ali's character ruled his kingdom. Mahershala also had an element of kindness in a world that is very rough, or synonymous with roughness. And Black in that scene, and I think that this might also be a little element of that front, but also we can see behind the facade a little bit. The front is, that scene where his worker comes in and he's, counting out or whatever, and Black says, "You short." And so the
Yeah.
guy's like, "No, no, I'm not short. What are you talking about?" He's like, "No, you short." And so he says, "So you call me a liar now? Go ahead and count it out." And the guy's feared for his life. And so then, while Black is sitting there counting the money, he says, "You're actually good. I'm just playing with you. You got to learn to blah, blah, blah." And I mean, I could be thinking about this too much in depth, but my thought was, I think that he actually was short. But again, this is a king that doesn't rule with an iron fist. And
Mm.
even though, I mean, in a scenario like that, you cannot risk coming up short. You can't risk being played.
Mm-mm.
But for this character, and for I think the nature of little to Chiron to Black, I would go on the journey of saying that there's an element of the king having a gentle core, or having a place for kindness somewhere in there, where
Oh yeah.
I think he sees this guy as genuinely fearing for his life, and maybe he did make a mistake, even though 9 times out of 10 in situations like that, it's like, no, you cheated me. But in this case, I'm thinking, you know what? I think he gave him a pass.
I think that he was genuine in his commitment to like really toughening him up, because he doesn't want like his, I guess, employee to get messed with by the wrong people. He wants him to
Hmm.
be able to stand his ground when push comes to shove. And I think there was a little bit of that. And that was actually in itself an act of kindness. Him
Yes.
fucking with him is helping to make him stronger. And this is something that didn't happen to him as a kid. He didn't have somebody sort of doing that for him, and Juan had died.
Yeah.
I look at the character of Black as being like sort of the phoenix that rose up out of the ashes, but he's also made of ash, and you can see that in his eyes. Like, he's this big, tough, whatever, but you still see little in his eyes, and that was, I think, really good directing, really good casting, because you see him being all tough and messing with his employee, and they're riding around, they're talking about hoes, and and then all of a sudden, Kevin calls. Listen, the actor there, Trevante Rhodes, had not been in a lot of films up to this point. Most of the cast was pretty green, but this dude, this giant, massive, muscular man, just melted to nothing, and you could see that. You could see that. You could see him become the child when he picked up the phone and heard that it was Kevin, and then that just gets amplified. I mean, what I love so much about this film is that it gets love. It gets true love. That's fucking universal. Okay. This story right here is not a gay story. This is a human being story, right? This is about your one true calling you out of the blue and just bringing you back to that time, that place in your life. You become that person again. And yeah, he drove through the middle of the night because that was love. I want to ask you guys what you thought of the fact that Chiron, Little Black, had not touched anybody else. At first, my first viewing, I remember thinking, well, that's bullshit. But the second, third, fourth time that I watched it, fifth time, I don't know how many times I've seen it now, it makes a lot more sense to me.
I got to agree. There is, in regards to Black being this, this physical presence, being this confident figure externally in terms of his physicality and how he walks and how he talks. Again, like you said, Mark, this character, this final evolution, Black, is still made of ash from being a phoenix. So yes, the moment that, oh God, I'm forgetting the name now.
Kevin.
The moment that Kevin calls him, the voice changes, the voice gets lower, even in the physicality. The moment that he walks into that diner, the shoulders slump a little bit, the head goes down, everything starts to round and go inward a little bit. It's very interesting to see. And that kind of physical language, that stuff doesn't really happen unless, for example, you have something traumatic or you have some kind of memory that just triggers you physically. And here it's that first love. It's that person that, no matter how long it's been since you've seen them, no matter how many other people have come in your life that you've had romantic relationships, there's always that one person that when you get around them, sure enough, that head's going to go down. Those shoulders are going to start to curl in. And so I think, what was that question?
I don't even remember at this point. I'm not even high.
Yeah, I would say for me, it was definitely like, okay, see, now I'm trying to remember the question.
Discuss Black. I don't know.
I definitely agree with like the change in his like the way that he was like projecting himself when it came to Kevin, and like the drive there. You see like Kevin is kind of like definitely taken aback, like, you drove all this way,
all the way down here.
Yeah.
But
for him, I think maybe he was just like, oh, now I remember the question. It was about like, was his claim that he had no other like partners since that like cap or not? I don't think it's cap, because I think he had a lot of trauma like surrounding his sexuality, and he probably just like ignored it, buried it, like probably still had his own like stuff with himself, but not, I don't think, especially because of the trauma around, like it seems like there was a genuine fear of being like exposed for having homosexual like tendencies, thoughts, emotions. So I think he kind of carried that with him and like suppressed that up until that point where he just like melted. And so once he heard Kevin's voice, it just, as I was saying earlier, that it just all came flooding back, and there was nothing to do but to drive all the way over there.
Yeah, I gotta agree. Also, I think, because this is what I remember what I was going to say in regards to him not being with anyone else since then, is that the telling thing for me was the wet dream that he had. He has the wet dream about, older Kevin smoking the cigarette outside of the diner. And for me, for someone to have that kind of a physical reaction, and you just
pent
screaming,
up.
right? You've been pent up and you need a release. Tee. So I totally buy it. I think he hasn't had any.
Yeah. One thing I did want to, while we were discussing that came up that I wanted to mention, is the fact that the character we're discussing now, I mean, they're all the same. So Little, Chiron, Black, it's all the same person, right? But Black is Black because of Kevin. Kevin was the very first character. He's the character that called him Black. That was his nickname for him. So now he has totally adopted that persona. And if you notice, which I didn't, but I heard about on the commentary, is that when he's driving around his drug route at the end of the film, before he meets up with Kevin, the license plate on his car says Black.
Doesn't it say Black 365 or something like that? Is that the number of the license plate?
6969.
6969.
Nice.
We keep it classy here on Cinema Z. Always. Well, listeners, now it's time for your favorite segment and mine, Director's Cut.
And now we're pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
So, in this segment of the pod, we replay some of our favorite scenes by acting them out in real time without any preparation at all, and we are completely silly and ridiculous. So, the first scene I have chosen here is right after the swimming lesson with Little. So, we have Little, we have Juan, and then a narrator. And I've put a narrator in all of the scenes. That way, all three of us could act each one.
Okay. Who wants to be who?
I love all of it. So you pick.
Okay, I can be one.
I think I'm going to be the narrator. There's narration here, right? You said there's narration in this scene? I'll be the
Everything that's blue. See? Because the black was anyway. So yeah, I've highlighted the narrator blue for each scene.
I will be narrating as if I am Morgan Freeman.
Oh, I love that. I love that for us.
Action.
Juan, can I ask you something?
Yeah, little man. Ask me whatever.
Little nodding, taking his time, oddly nervous about this. I'm joking. I'm not gonna mess this up. This is actually very
Please,
sensitive.
no, please do.
No, I can't.
No, please do the whole thing like that.
No.
That is amazing.
I'll say this is a serious piece. I can't do that. I'll do it normal.
Oh, that was so good though. I loved it.
I'll save it for something.
Fits. No, I'm keeping that in. I'm not editing that out. So fuck you. You're not rereading it. Anyway, no, I loved that version. Okay, anyway, moving on. Okay, why your name Juan?
How you mean?
Juan is like a Spanish name, but you're black, just like me.
Juan, turning his head to the boy. A smile, and then a full-blown laugh. Juan, losing it.
Little, you're funny little dude. You know that.
Juan slapping his knee here. Really enjoying this moment.
Let me tell you something. It's black people everywhere. You remember that, okay? Ain't no place in the world that ain't got no black people. We was the first ones on this planet.
Little embarrassed, poking at the sand before him. Juan places a hand to his shoulder.
I'm from Cuba. A lot of black folks in Cuba, but you wouldn't know it from being here. Was a wild little shorty just like you. Used to run around with no shoes on the moon when the moon was out.
Juan's thoughts drifting. Take him away from here for a beat. To those waves, possibly, arriving on this shore from that other shore he's describing not so far away.
This one time, I ran by this old lady, was just running and hollering and cutting the fool, boy. And this old lady, she stopped me and she say to me, "Look at you." I was a little badass too, you know. She say, "Look at you," and I say, "Look at you," and she smiled and she said, "Running around catching up all the light in moonlight," she say. "Black boys look blue, you look blue," she say. That was what I call you, Blue.
So, is your name Blue?
Nah. At some point, you got to decide for yourself who you're going to be. Can't let no one make that decision for you.
This has been a dramatic reading of Moonlight. I'm Morgan Freeman.
Cut.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Like I said, we need the levity. That was great.
I just went with it. Damn you, Mark.
I've never heard you, Morgan Freeman. How? We've been doing this now for a couple of years. I've never heard you do
I
it.
don't know.
That is great. Fuck. Can you? I need you to record my voicemail. Anyway,
no.
As Morgan Freeman, though. As Morgan Freeman. Okay. So, guys, that last scene that we just read, I love that because it's the scene where you really see their relationship blossoming. You see the bond forming. You see Juan sort of teaching him about life and training him. He's telling him a little bit about his background. They had just, he had just taught him how to swim, which, by the way, the actor, I can't remember his name. The little boy that's the actor in this film had no idea how to swim before that scene. Had never swum before. And so you actually have Mahershala Ali teaching this little boy actually how to swim in the scene. So I
Beautiful.
thought that was really cool.
Beautiful.
You could kind of tell. for some reason, like my parents were obsessed with me learning how to swim, which I guess I understand because there was a pool in the complex that I was at. So I have watched a bunch of swimming videos and like videos of people learning how to swim.
Yeah.
So I could tell that it was like real. I was like, wow. I didn't like know it, but like subconsciously, like especially looking back, I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense because I was like, this is super realistic.
Yeah. The director described that scene as Little's baptism into becoming the man that he would be.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So the next scene here, oh, this one's juicy. So I did pick 4 scenes, 2 of the scenes from young Little, and then the other 2 from Chiron and then Black, respectively. But I wanted to include this one on here because I picked the most important ones of the film, I feel like, and this is another really important one. And this is when Juan first discovers that Paula, I guess, is one of his clients, and he is not impressed, to say the least. And I want to be Paula. So there is Juan and narrator.
I can try to do Juan.
Okay, perfect. I'll take the narrator then.
Action.
What the fuck?
Who you?
Get the fuck out.
Who the hell you think you is?
Juan shook. Never expected her to jump in.
Who the fuck
Bitch,
you?
get the fuck out of here.
So, you gonna raise my son now?
Nothing from Juan. All stillness. His holding his gaze.
Huh?
Juan, lowering his eyes, legitimately weighs the question.
You gonna raise my son? Yeah, that's what I thought.
You gonna raise him?
You gonna sell me them rocks, motherfucker?
Paula turns from Juan, reaches into the Chrysler and pulls out her pipe, a lighter from there, holds gaze while taking a charred black pull, exhales.
And don't give me any of that. You gotta get it from somewhere shit, ninja. I'm getting it from you. But you gonna raise my son, right?
Paula exhaling into the night air again, lets her head loll a bit to funnel some smoke. Places the pipe into the back of the car now, approaches Juan, slow and confident.
Do you ever see the way he walk, Juan?
Watch your damn mouth.
Paula, real close now, extremely close, her nose at his chin, looking up into his eyes.
You gonna tell him why all the other boys kick his ass all the time? Huh?
No backing down in Paula's eyes, the line drawn, so sure in this declaration. And Juan, all doubt, prospect of follow through finally before him, having to be reconciled. Paula backing away from him, eyes never leaving his.
Come on, let's go.
Cut.
Don't worry, I didn't say it.
Thank you, especially during Black History Month.
For real.
I wasn't gonna disrespect y'all like that.
The Black Council really appreciates it.
Wow, that scene.
Yeah.
That is a powerful fucking scene.
It's tough.
Mhm.
It's tough.
That's exact, and it calls into exactly what I was talking about earlier, where he's like starting to realize like the cog in the machine that he's in and what it's actually doing that he's profiting off of.
And the responsibility, the weight of all of it. I mean, you know, speaking from the perspective of a black parent, a black parental figure, you know, not only do you have the weight of a child that you have to look after and that you have to protect, but you also have the weight of a black child in America that you have the weight of protecting and informing about this world and all those different talks that you're going to have with them on top of the regular talks that you have with children. And on top of that, this is a queer child that you both know is coming into the world, and there's conversations there that you have to have that you also might not be so well equipped to communicate, but you're going to do the best that you can. So there's a lot here. There's a lot happening here.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's super loaded, like it's super like emotional, like there's a lot of like confrontation that's going on, and I like the narrator's notes because it really like shows you like the gravity of the situation. From the no backing down in Paula's eyes, the line drawn so sure in this declaration, and Juan, all doubt, prospect of follow through finally before him, having to be reconciled. Paula backing away from him, eyes never leaving his. So it's just like confronting what he does and how that impacts the world and how it's impacting somebody that he cares about. And he has to confront that head on because Paula's not backing down and he's doubting himself. He has to reconcile what he does with the outcome of what it does. So exactly what I was saying earlier, but to see that in the notes is crazy.
Yeah, it's the weight, the stakes are definitely realized here. The stakes of the situation.
All right, moving on to scene 3. So this is one, another, like I said, I want to include some of the important beats in the film in this so our listeners can get a sense of sort of what was happening and what we're talking about if they haven't seen the film. And so we mentioned the beach scene earlier. This is sort of, well, the first and only romantic interaction that Little's character had in his life or would have for quite some time. And it is with his best friend on the beach. So there is the character of Kevin, there's the character of Chiron, and then there is the narrator. And I'm going to volunteer myself to narrate this one.
Okay. I'll be Kevin.
Copy. I'll be Chiron.
Action.
He was waiting for me.
Chiron, turning, looks up into that voice, backlit by the bright beacon of a spotlight mounted on the promenade behind, unrecognizable at first, but then ethereal. A shift of the light. Of course, it's Kevin.
Huh?
Nice to see you too.
What are you doing out here?
You in my smokeout habitat, nigga.
A beat as something dawns on Kevin.
Oh shit. You come out here to smoke too, Chiron?
Something like that.
Kevin, taking a seat on the sand beside him now, still making that incredible smile.
Man, you know I don't smoke. Why you pretending? Putting on a show for me, Black.
Why you keep calling me that?
A puzzled look from Kevin at first, then he pulls a blunt from his pocket.
Black? That's my nickname for you. You don't like it?
A shrug from Chiron as a huge wave hits the shore, demanding their attention as it runs towards them. It stops short a few feet, keeps their attention for a moment. Sound of the ocean, sound of the wind running through the reeds at night. Kevin sparks a flame to that blunt.
You like the water?
Chiron says nothing.
Well, let me introduce you to some fire.
Extends the blunt to Chiron.
Come on now, I ain't gonna bite you.
As Chiron takes the blunt, drags on it with Kevin watching.
Breeze feel good as hell, man.
Yeah, do.
Sometimes around the way where we live, you catch the same breeze. Come through the hood and it's like everything stopped for a second because everybody just want to feel it. Everything just get quiet, you know?
And it's like all you can hear is your own heartbeat, right?
Yeah, feels so good, man.
So good.
A long beat as that thought lingers between them in the ocean.
Oh shit, you make me want to cry. Feels so good.
Chiron looking at Kevin now.
You cry?
Nah, but made me want to.
Kevin flashing that big, cool smile.
What you cry about? You cry, Chiron?
I cry so much that sometimes I think one day I'm gonna just turn into drops.
But then you could just roll out into the water, right? Roll out into the water like all these other motherfuckers out here trying to drown their sorrows.
Why you say that?
I'm just listening to you, nigga. Sound like something you want to do.
I want to do a lot of things that don't make sense.
I didn't say it don't make sense. But tell me, like what? Like what lot of things?
Damn, you nosy.
Uh-oh, look at Chiron cruising. You trying to get smart with me?
Whatever, man.
You trying to get smart.
Kevin, reaching a hand into Chiron's neck, places his own palm there, deliberately, with feeling.
You trying to get smart, Chiron?
Their eyes meeting here. Kevin slowly working his hand along Chiron's neck. A small movement with feeling.
Chiron?
Slowly, nearly subconsciously, Chiron, growing weak, leans towards Kevin, their weight supporting one another here on the dune, all sound drowned by the echoing ocean, the night covering these two as close as they've ever been. Both sit up, facing each other, still close, noses nearly touching. They stare. These are the waters they've never charted, the culmination of invitations they've been sending since day one. Evan smiles, his open lips brushing Chiron's. Chiron startles and leans in, heavy kissing, much deeper than just the meeting of lips. A moment more of this heavy petting, and then the sound of a buckle being undone. Kevin's hand disappearing down below. A gasp from Chiron, and pleasure, rhythm, pleasure, and rhythm, as Chiron's breath catches in his chest, head fully leaned into Kevin's shoulder, free hand grabbing at the sand as Kevin takes a hold of him, a caressing and a pulling, a soothing as Chiron comes, holding onto Kevin for dear life, choking on the sea breeze. Kevin removes his hand, looks at the cum before wiping it on the sand.
I'm sorry.
Kevin looking at him with the kindest, most open face.
What you got to be sorry for?
Cut.
That was, I mean, it's an adult scene because it's sexual in nature, but it's so tender and it's so romantic and so dear. Even the way that it's written here,
Mm-hmm.
like we discussed earlier, like it could have just been like a hand job, or they could have been rough fucking, or they could have been doing a ton of things. But this was just like, I don't know, something just sweet and romantic about it.
It could have been a Brokeback Mountain scene.
Oh, I'm so glad it wasn't.
I'm so glad it wasn't.
Ugh.
And also, like, I think a quick segue for someone at that point in time when Brokeback Mountain came out, for someone that was still a virgin and hadn't had sex yet and saw that scene, I was petrified.
You've mentioned this before. I think this
have?
haunts you.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, listeners, I'm telling the story again. This is my trauma. This is my story.
Live your truth, man. Live your truth. EJ, you seen Brokeback Mountain?
I have not.
Okay. Well, there's a scene, and it's not tender.
It is not tender.
There's no safe word.
No, not one.
Oh wow.
And no one prepped.
All right.
No one prepped. It's
There
all
was no prep.
Oh.
one does not bottom after eating baked beans.
No, yeah, they had chili. Oh, I never thought about that. That's awful.
I'm not bottom shaming
Yo.
at all. I am not bottom shaming. I want to make that very clear. I'm just saying the reality of the situation.
I think there's a comedian that I follow on BlueSky that said that what's the difference between tops and bottoms is like the bottom. I think the bottom like buys everything and the top gets to eat tacos. I don't know. Something like that, but I just thought it was funny.
There's like an odd truth to that, even though I have to say, I believe that everyone likes to do a little bit of everything.
There we go. We're verse here at Cinema Z.
We are
Anyway,
verse
moving on.
Cinema Z.
Yeah.
Cinema Z is verse. If you didn't know it, listeners, now you know. Cinema Z identifies as verse.
Oh Lord.
Mask
Mask for
gang,
mask.
gang.
All right. So that brings us to scene 4. And scene 4 is between Kevin and Black. And there is some narration in here as well. I just didn't highlight it. But I kind of want to be Black.
I guess I'll be Kevin because I'm dyslexic and finding the narration was going to be a challenge for me without highlighting.
There we go. Okay.
Action.
You all right?
Yeah, no, I just got a little headache.
Man, you a lightweight.
Nah, he was pouring that mug. He was pouring it.
Can't taste this.
Chill out, man. We had like 3 bottles.
Yeah, 3 bottles. I'll make you some green tea. Man, come on.
I don't be drinking that shit either, man.
What you drink?
Water?
Who is you, man?
Who? Me?
Yeah, nigga. You. Them fronts. That car. Who is you, Chiron?
Black shrugging his shoulders, smiles sheepishly.
Me, man. I ain't trying to be nothing else.
So you hard now?
I ain't saying that.
Then what? Look, I'm not trying to hem you up. Just I ain't seen you in a minute. Not what I expected. None of it. Not good or bad. Just not what I expected.
Well, what did you expect?
Kevin, thinking about that one, has to ask himself, what did he expect?
You remember last time I saw you?
At first, just a nod from Black, a plaintive gesture from his body, but in those eyes, so much more.
For a long time, I tried not to remember. Tried to forget all those times. The good, the bad, all of it.
Yeah, I know.
When we got to Atlanta, I started over. Built myself from the ground up. Built myself hard. What about you?
Me, I just kept on, man. I was never worth shit. Never did anything I actually wanted to do. Was all I could do what others folks thought I should do. I wasn't never myself.
And now?
Now I still got little Kev, got this job, man, got another 18 months of probation.
Damn, that's real shit.
Yeah, but that's a life, you know. I never had it before. Like, I'm tired as hell right now, and I ain't making more than shoe money, but I got no worries, man. Not them kind that I had before. That's some real shit. That's that Bob Marley shit, nigga.
Black lightning at that, a little smile. It's only amplified as Kevin starts to do a little bob and weave, ad-libbing a Marley-esque hymn. Black smiling as Kevin's eyes alight with his little ditty. Kevin rises, head over the small kitchen running water. He toggles a small radio. The sound of Kevin rotating through the dial, finally landing on a station. Late night R&B, like DeBarge's All This Love. Kevin comes back over, settles. Muted music from that kitchen radio. He takes up his glass of water and enjoys another sip. Black fixes him in his sights, more directly than before.
You're the only man that's ever touched me.
The air going out of Kevin's chest, his gaze fixated on Black's lips, anticipating the words falling from there.
The only one. I haven't really touched anyone else since.
This has been a dramatic reading of Moonlight, and I am Morgan Freeman. Good night.
Cut.
Matt, I can't thank you enough for that. Like I said, this is a heavy film, so bring in the levity, man. I appreciate you.
I have to clothe myself. I've just given myself to you.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Don't put your clothes on for me, man. Jesus. Thank you, both of you guys, for that. It was a lot of fun. Always is, but yes, particular today. This brings us to the rewrites portion of the program. So, if this is your first time listening to Cinema Z, welcome. And you've reached the portion of the pod where we go through the film and we talk about if there's something about the film that we would change, how would we change it to suit our tastes?
As much as, I mean, it's a domino effect. So if we take out the element of Little's mom and how
You're going to take out Paula?
No, I don't want to take out Paula. That's not what I want to do. I just it is
Run, Paula.
It is a running stereotype of, the Black mother being on cocaine. That's an ongoing overused story tool. It is different.
And the screenwriter and the director, both of their mothers went through that.
Yeah. And
they pulled from both of their mothers.
And so, that's what I'm saying, is that here, obviously, it comes full circle, and it is a very important element to make the entire story work. It's just, there's always a pinch when I see it. That's all. It's always a pinch when I see it in media.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same. I do think that they handled it pretty well. I like the ties that they did. They didn't necessarily have to scream it. It's just like, but if you knew, you knew, and they tied into it in very nice ways. Like, again, that scene that we read really like made Juan confront what he was doing, and even allowed us to facilitate that conversation. Even before we did that, like, I was making callbacks to it. So it was handled very, very well. The only thing I would change is really just like the ending in terms of Black's occupation. It really just hurts me that he's still, even after that scene, even after experiencing that, like participating in it in that way when I know he has so much more potential. That's what really gets me at the end. I was kind of disappointed, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that too. It hurts. I think the redeeming quality with that is that Kevin has that moment where he, even the look he gives him tells Black, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this?" And I think that even that changes the trajectory of their conversation a little bit for the rest of the movie with him. I think challenging him even more and kind of harping on, who are you? Who are you? And more the subtext of this isn't you, which he actually does say at the diner when they're having the conversation. So yeah, I would have to agree.
Well, for me, I think at this point, if you guys don't know that I love this film, you haven't listened to this podcast at all. The ending, though, you guys brought up the ending, and the ending is something that does. There's something about it that doesn't quite feel finished to me. Like, I appreciate what they did with having the last shot be the little boy again looking directly at the camera. I get that. I thought that was cool. But when we last see Black and Kevin and he's sort of holding him, I think I just wanted a kiss. I didn't need Brokeback Mountain. I didn't need a hand job, but I think a kiss would have been nice there. That's what I would have changed if I was remaking the film. I would have a nice tender kiss there to seal the deal.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I agree with that too.
Well, now moving on to standouts. So in this portion, we give everybody an opportunity to share something that they want to say as a positive about the film that maybe we haven't mentioned already, that they just want to give a shout out to.
For me, it's really the element of family. I think the Black family and the way that it's represented in this movie, especially with Mahershala Ali's character and Janelle Monáe's character. There is a myth that has been put out there, and even in terms of data, it's mythic data in regards to there being a lack of Black fatherhood, Black fathers in the home. And it's been said that because of lack of Black fathers in the home, it's the reason why people turn to crime and blah 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 blah, and the families are broken, blah blah blah. I mean, that data is so skewed because it isn't even going based off of there not being Black fathers in the home, parents being divorced, and the father still being very present, but the kid just happens to go back and forth. That's something that I had. My mom and my dad were not together, but I would still go and visit both parents. I'm not out here committing crimes, not accounting for Black men that have been killed by the police or Black men that are Black fathers that have died. But the data just goes based off of Black fathers aren't in the home, therefore Black people are more likely to commit crimes or criminals because of this. But the data is so skewed. Here we see the father figure very present in the home. We see the father figure working to give that child a better life, to educate that child. We see the mothers doing the same thing. So I really applaud this movie for doing a good job of destroying that myth and breaking down that data, that skewed data. So
Before I forget, I have to say this. I agree with you completely, and there's another thing that the data completely overlooks.
Mhm.
Remember when I was saying earlier that when you catch charges, you can't be around certain people? That also included, like, what would happen is if there was a family, and let's say it was a Black male, Black woman, heterosexual relationship, they had a child, but the Black male was involved in this kind of like drug activity. When he got locked up, now there's no income coming to her house. She gets on Section 8. One of the stipulations that you can't have anybody who's committed crimes in your location. He can't come back even when he's out of jail. So it's now accounting for them literally forcing the Black males away from their family even when they were out of jail, which is a huge factor in that as well. but I think yes, the show definitely did a really really good job accounting for and like highlighting all those things and doing it so naturally,
Oh yeah,
so
it wasn't forced.
organically. It wasn't forced. It wasn't a bastardization of being woke. It was actually woke, actually being aware of these injustices and putting them in a natural way and how they actually happened, instead of being hyper focused in a way that kind of destroys any of the other narratives that are also intertwined in it. This one was harmonic, like it added that wavelength to it without really interfering.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
For me, standout, besides all of the killer performances we've had, I also I bring this up a lot in the standouts because we don't typically talk about it in the discussion. But the soundtrack I thought was really cool. I liked their song choices, and I liked the fact that it's very subtle, but what they do with the score. So they have this very tender. The whole play was read. The original play was read as poetry, and this script was written sort of like a poem. And there's a lot of breathiness in that, and you guys know I like that. But anyway, um, the score was, they used classical music and classical instruments and violins and stuff, which you wouldn't expect for a movie about the hood, right? But what they've done with it is they start playing around with it in a unique way, where as the character grows up, you start getting this, and this is the first time this is, I believe, ever done for a score, a film score. But they did that technique of chopped and screwed the classical music,
Mm-hmm.
and they slowed it down a little bit and played with it and made it a little wonky for it would be Chiron's the middle part, and then by the time they got to black, I mean, they went all the way with it, and it really got slowed down and dark and heavy, which is another way to subtly sort of introduce you to, okay, this is the character now. He is this dark metamorphosis of the original Little. It's still the same music you're hearing. It's the exact same music, but it is much tonally much darker. And I like that they did that. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, the change in motif and with the
Mhm.
chopped and slowed, that was brilliant. Because I think Bridgerton has done classical. I'm not sure when, which like classical like remakes, but not chopped and slowed. That chopped and slowed was a nice touch, and how that motif changed over time was very, very elegant.
Well, on to trivia.
Act trivia.
Act trivia. Yeah, we got a few pieces of trivia here. Typically, we just round table it. So I'll start off. Naomi Harris had to shoot her entire role in 3 days, in between her promotional tour of Spectre, the James Bond film, due to a visa problem. Her scenes spanned 15 years in the character's life and were filmed out of sequence. So kudos. She jumped from Paula to Paula to Paula in 3 days, channeling each version of the character. That's pretty crazy.
She is phenomenal. Naomi Harris, you are phenomenal. Phenomenal work. Both director Barry Jenkins and writer Tarell Alvin McCraney's vision was pretty clear and singular in that both men grew up in the same Liberty City neighborhood of Miami with mothers who had both struggled with addiction. Roughly 80% of the film was shot on location there, one of the most poverty-stricken areas in the United States. Initially, the production was apprehensive about safety issues until the word got out that Jenkins was from the neighborhood. Then everything changed for the better. The locals couldn't have been more welcoming and cooperative. Naomi Harris has said that she'd never felt so appreciated and at ease on a film set during the shoot.
Very cool.
An early meeting with Brad Pitt helped director Barry Jenkins get the necessary funds and distribution deal he required.
I just love that. I read that trivia and I was like, no shit.
This is
That's
how
cool.
you are an ally in Hollywood. This is how you do it.
Thanks, Brad.
Facts.
This is some technical stuff here. The light flashes in the transitions between chapters is actually an out of focus digital time code from a camera slate. During filming, the actors were sprayed with oil so their skin would shine on camera, and the crew would hold the running slate against the lens to protect it from the sprays. Barry Jenkins saw the out of focus time code on his view monitor and decided to add it to the film, as the light flashes are literally showing time moving forward.
Moonlight has a very diverse score with music ranging from orchestra to chopped and screwed. As the film goes on, composer Nicholas Britell decided to chop and screw the orchestra to create a unique sound.
The film was shot using only one camera.
That's insane.
That is wild.
Every interview that I've heard him talk about this, and I've listened to so many in the last week of Barry Jenkins talking about it, but like, it never stops blowing my mind. I can't even believe this film was shot entirely on one camera, but Jesus Christ, wow. Great job,
Crazy.
guys.
I wonder what camera it is.
It's one of the little Bond cameras. It's in a bow tie.
It's the camera. It's actually the camera that Naomi took from the filming of Spectre. It is a Bond camera.
Yeah, she hid it in her luggage. That's why she only had 3 days. She had to get back and return it. The scene where Chiron runs home to find his mom wandering and high is the most overt of the portraits. Characters looking directly into the camera. Barry Jenkins used throughout the film. I felt if I was going to make this film that was so deep and dark about my past and the things I went through, I wanted to put the audience in the film, in between these characters. The film moves between 48 frames per second and 24 frames per second as a way of enhancing Chiron's own disorientation.
Chiron is the name of a centaur in Greek mythology known as the wounded healer.
The school principal is played by Tanisha Shadell, who's also the drama teacher who brought Alex R. Herbert and Jaden Piner to the film.
Yeah, so that was Little and Little Kevin. So that's pretty cool. During an interview, director Barry Jenkins mentioned that the idea of using the song Every N-Word as a star by Boris Gardner came from a sample from Kendrick Lamar's album To Pimp a Butterfly, which starts with a sample of that original song.
I could tell. I feel like it was giving Kendrick vibes for sure.
This is the first LGBT film and the first film featuring an all-black cast to win the Academy Award for Best Picture. So it wasn't La La Land.
Oh, Jesus. Shut the fuck up, man. I'm so over that shit.
Barry Jenkins points out that someone feed this dude in each chapter of the film wasn't thematically or intellectually something I wanted to make a point out of, but instead it was simply a way to identify a truth from his neighborhood, is that even when you found yourself drifting outside the community in your own thoughts or actions, you're not going to go hungry. Someone's going to feed you.
It's funny. It's like it could be, Liberty City in Miami. It could be Berlin. It could be, where I grew up in northern Maine. But you're going to find helpers wherever there's a large group of people. There's going to be helpers. There's going to be kind people there. Kind people are everywhere. Assholes are everywhere. But yeah, it's nice that their sense of community is there and was felt, and that was a positive message in this film. I like that. So, final thoughts. I was sort of racking my brain about this, and I almost said we should give out 5 hand jobs, but I decided, nope. I decided I'm actually going to be nice this week, and instead we're going to give out glasses of water.
That's a lot of hand jobs. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. But water is a running theme through this film. And it helps. We didn't even mention this, but like Chiron really like becomes black when he puts his face in the ice water and picks his head up for the first time after the beating. Like that's when he's born, right? Out of the water. And so let's give out some, glasses of ice water. 1 to 5.
So I'm definitely giving this one 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I definitely have to second that. I think it was very well done. And just to even go back to something in the trivia that caught my eye as like a final thoughts, like the fact that they mentioned like like the area that it was filmed in was one of the most poverty-stricken areas in the United States. Like, it really brings into perspective like what we were talking about earlier, because all of that's not just like history. It's not just about like racism. It's like how in the world this environment got created, and that context is into there. Why is that area so poverty-stricken, right? Why is this the environment in which kids are growing up? And to know that the government was like, see, all these intersections come in into the story building as well. That is like actual lore that gets put in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people love lore, like especially nerds. Like, we're movie nerds. We love lore, right? We will go into the lore of like Star Trek or Star Wars, into the meta stuff like that. This is the lore for this because they based it on reality. You can dissect exactly how this even got created in the first place.
Oh, okay. I got to tag on a couple pieces of trivia here onto that. I'm gonna include it in my final thoughts. So, okay, clearly I'm gonna give out 5 tall glasses of water, which is Trevante Rhodes shirtless on his bed is a tall fucking glass of water. But anyway, okay, moving on. We all assumed I was going to give it 5. I give it 5. But I do want to mention 2 additional pieces of trivia. So Barry Jenkins went to school not for filmmaking at all originally. He wanted to be I believe, a history teacher or an English teacher. I think it was an English teacher. Went to school for that. Was at Florida State University, and Florida State University was going through some issues at the time he was there, and they had to temporarily postpone the classes, the English teaching classes, for like a semester or 2 or something. So in the downtime, he decided to pick up something else, which was, I think, creative writing, where he picked up a book by Walter Murch. Do you guys know Walter? Okay. Walter Murch is the guy that worked with George Lucas to bring Star Wars to life. Walter Murch did all of the sound effects for all of the Star Wars films. He came out with the laser sounds and all that. He wrote a book. Barry Jenkins read the book. Barry Jenkins started getting interested in doing movies, and then we got Moonlight. So we got Moonlight because of Star Wars. But anyway, I just thought roundabout.
Wild.
Anyway, that's cool. Also, okay, Janelle Monáe was cast in the role because she had auditioned for Star Trek, assuming Star Trek Discovery. Okay, another bit of trivia. And I know, I've watched too much of this shit this week. Okay, and final bit of trivia, and I think AJ will like this. Barry and the team went down to find people to be in the film weeks and months before the shooting began. And they interviewed a lot of locals, but what they went to like rehab centers and community centers where people were trying to get their life back together. And they just interviewed people. They didn't ask them if they wanted to be in a film. They just wanted to know their stories. And when they found people with interesting stories that they thought could do this, they asked them if they would be interested in doing this thing. So a lot of the extras and the people you see, the background characters, even the guy that's working the street with Juan at the beginning of the film, was an actual drug dealer.
Love it.
And now he's gotten himself out of poverty, and he's been in a few films since this, including they cloned Tyrone.
Yes. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
So yeah, black
That's
people
cool.
helping black people.
I love that. I love that.
Okay. I just had a little nerd orgasm. I'm done now.
Also, I'm still here for seeing Janelle Monáe show up in Star Trek. I think I mentioned it the other day. I was watching The Glass Onion, and I had said to myself, why isn't she in a Star Trek movie? She should totally be in Star Trek.
Almost. She wanted to.
I think it'll happen. I think we'll see Janelle Monáe in Star Trek.
What shows are on BQN, you ask? Well, here's a rundown of some podcasts you might be interested in. All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast covering all of Trek, hosted by Amy, Christos, Kelvin, and Kristen. Whether you've got Xbox or Nintendo, check out Bargain Bin Gamer, a YouTube show hosted by Davey and Mitch, self-proclaimed gamers who specializes in reviewing and showcasing affordable video games. Grab your popcorn as you listen to Cinema Z, a film discussion and review podcast showcasing films you probably missed but should definitely check out. Hosted by Mark and Matt. Don your apron for the Food Replicator, where Matthew eats and drinks his way through Star Trek cocktail and 3 cookbooks. Beam aboard Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast covering all of TNG, hosted by Steven. In order to not repeat it, listen to History with the Zalagis, a snippet of historical events from around the world, hosted by Chrissy and Jason. For the newest Trek coverage, check out Infinite Diversity, hosted by Chrissy and Thad. Curl up with a good book and delve into beta canon with Peter, host of the Trek Book Club on Twitter and BlueSky, and his companion Trek Book Club podcast. Test your Trek knowledge with Treksperts Quiz, a Star Trek quiz show hosted and written by Davey and MC. If you're a member of Starfleet Federation or Planetary Union, go check out Union Federation, covering current Star Trek and the Orville, which we all know is really a Trek show, hosted by Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley. Head over to YouTube and watch The View Screen live on Sundays, your Trek-inspired talk show hosted by Calvin and Amy, with new 8-week seasons in the spring and fall. Spill the tea with Christos while he discusses current Trek news and events and explores the world of fandom via guest interviews, all with an LGBTQIA+ perspective on What's the Tea Bev. And for our patron members, we have the Hive Mind with script readings and roundtable discussion, It's Green, a cornucopia of topics, and Amy's Math Moments, a quick look at math moments in Star Trek. You can keep up with all of these shows by following the network at BQN Podcasts on Instagram and BlueSky. We know you have a choice of podcasts to choose from, and we thank you for listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Well, Matt, you are going to be sitting in the director's chair next week. So what are we going to be talking about? I'm curious.
We are going to be talking about a movie called Harlem Nights. Harlem Nights was released in 1989. It was written and directed by the one and only Eddie Murphy. The synopsis goes, in 1930...
I was trying to do an Eddie Murphy laugh. Sorry.
Okay. The synopsis goes, in the 1930s, a New York City gambling house owner and his associates must deal with strong competition, gangsters, and corrupt cops just to stay in business. I do have to say, this movie is far ahead of its time, and I think deserves a follow-up or deserves something like it. We haven't really seen something like it since. This movie marries 3 generations of black comedy in one film. You've got Eddie Murphy, you've got Red Fox, and you've got Richard Pryor. And you've got Arsenio Hall. And you've got Della Reese, who isn't a comedian, but is hilarious in this film. There's a lot of... It's a star-studded black cast. If you are familiar with Black Hollywood, you will recognize the actors in this film, but this film was groundbreaking for one of those reasons, and that's why I'm very happy for us to check it out.
Yeah, I watched it years ago, really liked it, and haven't seen it since, so I'm looking forward to doing another dive into this one. Well, we would love to hear what you thought of today's episode and hope you'll join our Facebook group, the BQN Collective, to continue our discussion there. You can also skeet your thoughts to @CinemaZPod on BlueSky and let us know if you'd like to recommend a film. Please follow the network on BlueSky and Instagram @BQN Podcasts. Don't forget you can join the conversation with BQN hosts and listeners on our Discord server. Reach out to any of the hosts for details. So, Matt, where can people find you when you're not giving handies to guys on the beach?
That's how I make my money these days. I I have to ask, has the word skeet always been part of our closeout speech?
No, but it's always been part of BlueSky. And we used to say tweet when it was Twitter. And I was like, I'm going to fix this. And it seems appropriate for Cinema Z, so here we go. We're going to skeet, baby.
Oh, okay. We're going to have a lot of people skeeting. Oh,
my eye.
Oh, geez. Well, when I'm not giving hand jobs on the beach, you can find me on BlueSky, on Instagram, and on Threads. Wait a minute. No, that's a lie. You can find me on Instagram and Threads at MLJENN.
It's your name.
I'm trying to remember because I have a different one for BlueSky. So Threads and Instagram, it's MLJEN, MLJENN. That's where you can find me there. And then you can find me on BlueSky on BlueSky
1701
at 1701 BLERD. I also have an Instagram as well, 1701 BLERD. I say this all the time, but I made my own series. I made a web series about a queer black nerd that sees his life like he's living in a Star Trek episode. So if you want to see another black queer perspective on life, please stop by and check it out. And EJ, where can people find you when you are not wading in water in the beautiful hands of Mahershala Ali?
Ooh, lucky.
Ooh, I know.
Well, you can find me on Instagram and on X/Twitter at EJ Theodore.
You need to get back on BlueSky.
Oh, yes, BlueSky. You can also find me on BlueSky at eocon.bluesky.social. Where can people find you when you're not driving 7 hours to find your long-lost love?
I drove all night to get to you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, okay. We're on the same page. So when I would, on the record. So when I'm not doing that, you guys can find me pretty much on BlueSky. That's about it. I'm MW207, and I'm not really doing anything else these days because the internet's very toxic, but my BlueSky is curated to be not toxic. So I post music there and funny memes and sometimes pictures of my dog. Please hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a star rating and written review. That helps others to find the show. You can also follow the entire network's podcast with our master feed by searching BQN.
At this time, we would like to thank our associate producer, Amy Nelson. A special thanks to Las Marquez for our original show art. The opening and closing music for this podcast is titled Dancing Dead and was provided by Ketsa from the Free Music Archive, providing royalty-free music for content creators.
If you'd like to help us keep all of our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. We'll add you to the Hive Mind Facebook group so you can enjoy It's Green, Amy's Math Moments, and a ton of other network perks. With a monthly subscription of $5 or more, you too can join our meetings on the Hive Mind Roundtable discussion on the second Saturday of each month. Visit patreon.com/BQN to get all the details and watch your messages. Thank you for listening.
I'm Morgan Freeman, and we hope you'll tune in next time.
Au revoir.
Yeah, I mean, I had to say, when he got back in that car, when he got in his car, I said, wait a minute, he told you that he was still out here in these streets and you got back in the car with him. I would not do it. I would have the conversation at the diner. I'd be like, okay, I'll see you Tuesday.
Oh, but come on. You never would have got that scene where they're in the car. Oh.
Well, I mean,
they're in the car. Yeah.
Here's the thing. There's so much.
He says to him, he's like, so where are you planning on staying tonight?
Mm-hmm.
And they look at each other, and then he just cranks that music, and I'm like, yeah.